Hey, this is Mark with the Practical Still. We're going to open another bottle. This one's a little different, and unfortunately it's already open. I actually opened this while we were down at Dan's recording the latest podcast episode, and came upon this out of a charity auction or charity event, and so didn't actually buy this one, but it's a Stranahan's single malt whiskey. But instead of the normal small batch 94 proof, this is a single barrel cask strength whiskey. And a single malt, so a little different than we usually do here. And when you think of single malt, you usually think of Scotland or Japan or even some Irish whiskeys, but the American single malt scene's growing. There's some good entrants in there, and I think this is certainly one of them. Hometown favorite for us. This is in Denver, so not far from where Dan and I both live. Cool tour if you ever get to go to Stranahan's and do the tour. You'll get to taste whiskey and come out of it with one of these cool little Stranahan's glasses. But I've had this original Stranahan's quite a few times. I like the flavor okay. It just always seemed a little thin. This one fixes that. So versus 94 proof, this one particular single barrel is bottled at 111.51 proof. And as I mentioned before, not a huge proof hound. I don't have to have everything be 130 proof after the flavor. And certainly some alcohol carries flavor. I think alcohol can hide some defect too, but in this case, moving from that small batch whiskey to the single barrel at 111.5 proof certainly improved the mouthfeel of the whiskey. Super tasty, as you can tell. And I'm not going to take all the credit for this. My wife likes single malt whiskeys, and she probably got about that much of it. But I've enjoyed it. It really is the things I was missing in the regular offering. It felt a little thin. The flavors were a little hard to capture. This one brings it all in. So it's a single malt whiskey, but it's a bit of a hybrid because Scotch whiskey and even Japanese single malt whiskeys, those get aged in used barrels, often used bourbon barrels, but not new charred oak barrels like American whiskey does, but this does. So this is a single malt, 100% malted barley whiskey, but it gets aged in a new charred oak barrel a lot like, or just like an American whiskey would. And that does make a difference. So the flavors are awesome. And I noticed tonight as I was getting ready, I'd already been sipping on it, the cinnamon just coming out of it's crazy. So I like it. So if you want to get into the American single malt world, this was, I believe, the first. This kind of started, certainly it was one of the first to be popular. It was the first legally distilled whiskey here in Colorado. So again, we think it's kind of fun. But I do that. The original one, and by the way, there's a lot of information. Stranahan's website's pretty, but it doesn't tell you a whole lot. Best I could tell on the standard offering, it's at least 2 years old. Found a few articles that say batches of 2 to 5 year old whiskey. On the tour, and that's the only time I've had it, was the Diamond Peak. The next level kind of up is a more aged version, the black label. Really enjoyed that. So it kind of feels like this single barrel might have some more age on it, but I don't really know, and frankly I don't really care. It's an enjoyable whiskey. At best I can tell, these single barrel offerings, it looks like the master distiller Rob Dietrich's involved on those with the stores. This one came from Total Wine here in Colorado, or excuse me, yeah, Total Wine and more. So I don't know how much involvement there is in picking the barrels, or if they kind of get picked and handed out. Again, I just couldn't find a lot of information, and so what, it's quite tasty. So I'd find these. I think they sell around $60 to $70. The standard offering's a $50-ish bottle. Certainly worth the difference there. But we've talked before about doing the math on, is the extra proof worth it when you just think about, I don't know the way they think about proof gallons, a gallon of whiskey at 100 proof. If you levelize it, does the extra money make sense? In this case, I think it does. So I think it's good. I think you should give it a try if you see it. We'll go back to the bottle on this after I've lived with it a little longer. And if you've tried some and have an opinion on either the original Stranahan's or these cask strength single barrel versions, go to the comments on the video. Let us know. Give us a thumbs up, thumbs down. Tell us why so we can improve. And let me know what you think. But we'll go back to the barrel soon on this one. Flat. I did see one person on Reddit wrote it's flat so you can lay it down and keep your cork moist. We should know not to do that with whiskey. It's not wine. The cork doesn't need to stay moist. It won't hurt anything on this one because it's a synthetic cork. But if you lay a natural cork down with a distilled spirit and let it sit there, the cork doesn't like that. So every once in a while, do that to keep it a little moist. But it's not wine for what that's worth. So anyway, good times. Cheers. I think you'll enjoy it. Oh, one more thing. You get this little thing too. I did read that one of the reasons they made the bottle so tall was so you couldn't put it on the bottom shelf. Which is, I think, a little bit of tactical savviness, but sorry for that noise. But you do get a cool little Stranahan's marked off shot glass, so that's fun too. Give it a try. Cheers.